What's going on, New Canoe Nation? Welcome back. Episode 21, crushing it. See a bunch of people in the house already this evening. Welcome back. We are here every Tuesday evening, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock on the Pacific. Drop down in the chat where you're tuning in from, what boat you're floating out of. Go down in that lower left-hand corner, click that share button. Let's get some folks in here. By request, we got Eddie McRae in the house tonight. That's right. You guys asked for it. I gave it to you. So as we're going along, if you guys have any questions throughout the show, feel free to drop them down in the chat. We'll get those questions answered. A lot of times I put that on the guest to answer those questions. If not, I try to answer them. If not, we will get somebody that can answer that question for you. Good to see some folks in here. Matt Davis in the house. What's going on, brother? He's from Southeast Ohio, floating in a Flint, as always. Matt Lintzman in the house. I just saw he's been crushing it up there in Michigan. It's freaking awesome. Love to see it. Yeah. So you guys ready for this? You guys ready? Oh, Garrett Pate. Yeah. Just rub it in, bro. Vacationing at Myrtle Beach. Yeah. Must be rough. Must be rough. Let's get Eddie in the house. What's up, my man? Welcome to the show. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, no sweat, man. The good people watching at home requested that you were on the show. We made it happen. Happy to have you here, man. As always, it's good to get to know some of you guys, not only for me, but for the folks watching at home, maybe, other team guys, customers, a new canoe, things like that. It's always interesting to hear the different stories on how everybody uses their new canoes and stuff like that. And, obviously you got a pretty unique background between river fishing, hunting. I mean, obviously you're at your bow shop. We want to talk about that, man. But first and foremost, let's get a little background on you, man, where you're from, how you got into kayak fishing and just the outdoors in general.
Well, I'm from Woodbury, Georgia. I actually have a farm on the Flint River, that is, and I live about a mile or two from the Flint River. So I spent my entire youth, my entire life fishing the Flint River, which, of course, by process of deduction, makes the shoal bass my absolute favorite species to chase. Hey, Michael Thompson. Um, I recently here in January took over an old outfitters outdoor store here in Woodbury, and I've expanded it so it's now full service archery, kayak, fishing, hunting, you name it, anything outdoor. So basically, that's where it stands.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Well, I know I've heard stories. I think we've, Facebook messaged once or twice before this, and that you're big outdoorsman. You're always chasing giant fish in the rivers, and you're a big turkey hunter as well. Correct?
That's true.
That's true. he's not denying that.
I spend more of my time actually making and building turkey calls than I get to spend hunting. But yes, any game that I can call, I love to hunt. So of course, I was automatically crazy from the jump about turkey hunting. Same with coyote hunting, and the whole predator and varmint hunting thing. I enjoy all of that a lot.
That's cool, man. I think that's a lost art that's kind of like it went away a little bit, but it's kind of coming back. The predator hunting, I know just talking to my father, back in the day, a lot of guys used to hunt, fur prices were good, things like that. And then that kind of all went away. And it seems like a lot of people, went away from the predator hunting.
Yeah. Well, now Granted, you got to remember I'm 52 years old, so my
You're
childhood.
young, man. You're young. You're young.
But back when I was a kid, we actually had a fur company in a neighboring town that bought hides and furs. So trapping was a big part of life. I in the time, my teens, even before I could drive, I was trapping. That's how I made extra money, selling those furs. Foxes, bobcats. Of course, once I hit 17, 18, somewhere in that neighborhood, that's when we started to see a coyote population move into Georgia. Now, granted, back then, the technology was not near what it is now. There was no night scopes, no night vision, no infrared. So, if you wanted to go out at night hunting coyotes, you were toting around a car battery and a spotlight. That's how you had to do it. So it took two people.
That's crazy.
We were that die hard, though. It was so much fun. But I don't miss toting those car batteries around for a minute.
I bet. Lugging 80 pounds through the woods, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
It took one to carry the battery and the light, and the other one got to carry the gun and shoot. And
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's kind of cool. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. Like the evolution of just outdoors equipment in general. Obviously, no offense, you're an older gentleman. You've seen a lot of changes in both hunting and fishing, man. I mean, what is that like? I mean, how cool is that?
I mean, I say this every year, but then every year something happens to surprise me. But I keep thinking we're at a point where technology can't really get any more advanced. How what more can you possibly do to a kayak? You get my drift here? Because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
grew up in the times when the only river boats there were canoes, and they were
Sure.
fiberglass. There was no such thing as plastic. You
Yeah.
had to be extremely careful. Otherwise you bust a hole in one in a heartbeat. So I mean, I spent my youth wading and dragging a canoe around behind me. And of course, I don't know, 12 years, 15 years ago, that's actually when I started looking into the kayak end of it. I'd been wading and just whatever means necessary to get on the river. But I tell you, once I got hold of my first kayak, which by the way was a piece of junk, yeah, I was still hooked. And then from there, it's just progressed and progressed to me being so deeply involved in the industry, and I love it.
That's cool. That's cool, man. It's interesting, man. I like running into, old stuff from, back in the 60s and 70s, whether it be a fishing reel or old bow, old boat motors, things like that. And then you look at all this new stuff that's out there, and like you said, it's like how does this you think it's done evolving, and it's just like you turn the corner and something else new pops up. I remember the first time I heard of a motor on a kayak, and I thought that was crazy.
Oh, me too. Now I own one. So in fact, I've got it sitting up here on my showroom floor. I've got a little F10 with our EPS system on it, and I just kind of made the gamble. I said, well, I'm gonna bring it up here and I'm gonna set it on the showroom floor just for display, so people can see what our EPS system is all about.
Sure.
And that boat sitting in this shop just for the past 2 months has sold, I believe, 13 boats
Nice.
just from being on display.
That's
The
cool.
same exact setup. People coming in, just all they had to do was see it, and they automatically fall in love with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what would you say like is your most popular new canoe that you guys sell out of your shop there? Like so far, I know you're young into the shop, but like what's the most popular boat, especially with the Flint River being in your backyard?
From April to, well, current. So let's say April 1st to now, I've gone through, I think I've sold just a little over 30, somewhere between 30 and 40 boats. By far, the most popular, the one that's in most demand, the one I've got waiting list for, is surprisingly, since you would think it might be the Unlimited since it's the new model. People are crazy about that F10 equipped with an EPS. So
That's
I've sold, like I said, I think 12 maybe 13 of those. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. And I've got a waiting list for maybe 6 more,
Wow.
just of those.
That's cool. And
The,
that's something.
the Frontier 12 and the Unlimited had been extremely popular too,
Sure.
but with limited availability, people have really been crazy about that F10. So
That's cool. I think we were talking about that on last episode. Like it's kind of crazy to see, like, as I go around and I talk to guys from all across the nation, like, and I always bring up what's the most popular boat in your area, and seeing the difference, like up here, I think because we have more lakes than we do rivers, like Frontier 12 Pursuit Unlimited is a lot more popular in like the Illinois, Wisconsin area. And it seems like we were talking to Patrick Randolph last week, and he said the same thing. Like F10 is a really popular boat in his area. Same with you, but let's get your take on the EPS, because that's something we don't talk about a lot. A lot of guys are always looking at the bow mounts. Why do you like the EPS versus getting like a bow mount trolling motor?
uh, honestly, I think it lends itself more to our specific needs here. It's a great river setup. And of course, it's got the emergency breakaway. So if you hit any obstruction, it automatically kicks up, locks
Yep.
itself back down in place as soon as you're clear of the obstruction. I'm 6 foot 160. That F10 is a perfect size boat for me. The larger boats, I had a Pursuit for years that I loved, but it was a little hard for me to handle by myself, loading, unloading. Same with the F12. I haven't taken an Unlimited out yet, but it's going to be tough for me to handle too. So the F10 makes it. It's an easy to handle package, and um, that F10 being lightweight, paired with the Endura 45-pound EPS and me in the boat, I'm roughly 5 miles an hour. So, that's a good bit of speed with a kayak.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
cool thing about that EPS is it takes all of less than a minute to completely remove it and
Yeah.
have it away. So if you find yourself, on a day that you don't need motorized propulsion, you just want to paddle, you can easily take the whole thing off. It's out of the way in no time at all, which
Yeah.
I do a lot. I prefer to paddle mainly because that's the only damn exercise I'm going to get. I don't have time for anything else. But when I finally do get a little bit of time on the water, I at least want to get the most out of it, I guess.
I get that. I'm running a EPS motor on the back of my Unlimited currently, and the ease of putting that on and off is just, it's wonderful. I
Isn't it
love it.
just, it's just that quick,
Yeah, it's one little pin, pop it in.
right? Disconnect your battery
Yep.
and remove the whole thing.
Yep. It makes life easy. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guys that are running the bow mounts, same kind of deal. They get it on and off just as easy, but I don't know. Like you said, you're getting like 5 miles an hour. I know that's like always a hot topic. Like, how fast are you getting in? Um, I get roughly 4 miles an hour in my Unlimited, which is a bigger boat than the F10, and that's plenty of speed. Gets me to my spots nice and quick. So,
Mine will create weight. So
yeah.
it's always interesting. You see somebody on the bank, they look out to see a kayak with weight behind it, and they're
Yeah.
like, "What in the world?" But
Yeah,
great setup.
I was fishing with a friend of mine over the weekend, and he has a Torpedo 403 on the back of his Frontier 12, man, and I thought it was a little jet ski boat going ripping by. I mean, he was definitely leaving a wake. It's super cool, man.
Yeah, River Wolf with his 2.3 Hondas comes to mind. You know, he
Yeah,
amazes me running those things.
that's cool. That's super cool. That's awesome, man. So, Flint River, man. I mean, that's always been a bucket list fishery for me. I mean, tell us about it. Somebody that might not know what the Flint River is or what it's about.
Best river in the world, hands down. No comparison.
I mean, the guys in Pennsylvania on the Susky might disagree with you. I'm just saying.
Okay, that might be the one river that could possibly compete. Because the Susky, from what I hear, that's a bucket list river for me, by the way.
Okay, right on.
From what I hear, that's the premier, smallmouth fishery. But what makes this so special, what makes the Flint River so special, or the Apalachicola River system so special, is the shoal bass. And for those that are not familiar, the shoal bass is its own unique species. It resembles a smallmouth, but it's not genetically kin to a smallmouth. And they are only found here. Nowhere else in the world will you find that species. They're only found here in Georgia, a little portion of Alabama, and a little portion of Florida. So it is, in that aspect, a very unique species. And I guess probably over the last 8 or 10 years, it's really gained popularity on people's bucket lists, because it is so unique. And they are some super, super hard fighters because they spend their entire life in current. They were named shoal bass for a reason. They live in the shoals.
Huh.
Such a beautiful fish, and that's my one true addiction, to be honest. I could do the rest up. No more deer hunting, no more turkey hunting, no more coyote hunting, but don't take my shoal bass away from me.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I know I've done podcasts with Mr. Everett Park before, and he was saying the same thing about how he just loves chasing shoal bass in Georgia, and it's kind of funny. I'm wondering if he learned all his tricks and tips from you, my friend.
He might have learned a few.
All right. I just Everett told me I could call him out every show now because he's never here. Because he's got prior obligations on Tuesday nights. We'll let that slide. So we may have a new segment every show. Where in the world is Everett Park? So
I've shared a lot with Everett about that. Of course, you realize Everett only lives about 15 miles from me.
Okay, all right. I didn't know it was that close. I knew it was somewhat in the vicinity.
We've hit the river a few times together.
All right. I like it. Well, that river
to the river as I do, in fact.
Okay. Well, that river, the Flint River, also holds some big striped bass as well, too. Correct?
No, the Chattahoochee has
got
the
Chattahoochee. Okay.
Big striped bass.
All right.
And the Chattahoochee's, it's only about an hour from me, so that there's a portion of it that actually has a good shoal bass fishery. And that's the reason I spend a lot of time on the Chattahoochee. But in the process of spending time on that river and learning the shoal bass population, I also, by happenstance, learned about the stripe population. And there hadn't been the past few years, but there used to be some very, very big stripers that were running up that river. And it was
I'm just popping this photo up here that you sent me for the thumbnail. Is that on the Chattahoochee there?
That is.
Nice. What is that, like a 20 pound fish, roughly?
It was between 46 and 47 inches. So and that's the only way I didn't have scale, but according to charts, that would be about a 50-pound fish.
Oh, geez. Got a question from Walt. Walt, I would recommend contacting customer service. Go through the website, reach out to them, and they should have an ETA for you on your deck kit and all that good stuff. I know they were waiting on some stuff to come in, and that stuff has been slowly coming into the shop and then shipping right out the door. So just reach out to customer service, my friend. Josh Tatum in the chat watching on YouTube. He said, "You're one ripped old man right there." That's all that paddling you were talking about.
Yeah.
Super cool, man. So what's the name of your new outdoor shop?
Cedar Rock Outfitters. It's in Woodbury, Georgia.
And people can follow you on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, the shop.
The shop has a Facebook business page and Instagram page, and then of course my personal pages on Facebook and Instagram as well, which is Riverman Fishing.
Yeah, and I got that scrolling at the bottom of the screen there, folks. If you want to follow Eddie and all his adventures, his Instagram handles down there scrolling on the bottom of the screen for you guys. I always ask everybody this question every show. You got a Frontier 12. It's rigged up tandem. You can fish with anybody for the day, dead or alive. Who's it going to be?
Man, that's tough.
Yeah. That's usually the first response I get. I'm not going to lie.
Honestly, I have no clue.
Eddie's going fishing by himself in chasing shoal bass.
Yeah, I mean, well, and the sad thing is, I grew up kind of fishing by myself. I spend the majority of my time when I am on the river by myself. See, here's the thing, and contrary to what most people believe, I'm not so hooked on the fishing as I am on the river. That's always been my peace and my serenity and my quiet time, my time to find my sanity. So, the fishing's just a side note, a great side note, but
Sure.
a side note. So, uh, I guess having spent so much time by myself, be hard for me to pick someone. I tell you what, it would be a nice one to have if he could do it anyway. I spent a long time at ICAST 2015 talking to Roland Martin, and he was hooked on shoal bass himself. He loved shoal bass. So I think that would be fun.
Okay. I like it. I like it. That's the first Roland Martin we've gotten. I like it.
Well, he had spent a good bit of time on the Flint. In fact, he surprised me with how much local knowledge he had about the river when I was talking to him down there. And I spent probably an hour and a half conversation with him. It was fantastic. And funny guy. But,
that's cool. That's cool, man.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of the younger guys like myself, man, grew up watching him and Bill Dance and everybody else, man. That would be definitely a fun day on the water, I think.
Most definitely.
I like that. So what is it, you said the river is like your place to go and, find yourself and stuff like that. Why do you prefer the river versus like a lake or something like that, man?
I have never been attracted to flat water fishing. And I guess that's probably from growing up at an early age, spending so much time on the river. From the time I was 6 or 8 years old, canoeing the river every weekend, I just developed a love and a passion for it. And that's always been my preference. That's kind of half of the reason you don't see me doing a lot of tournament fishing anymore, because most tournaments are hosted on lakes, and I just don't enjoy fishing lakes.
I don't blame you. Rivers are unique, they're
wild.
always changing. You always see new things and stuff like that.
They're wild.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with true wild water versus lakes. Most lakes are commercialized, at least to an extent.
Sure. That's super cool, man. Super cool. What's the strangest thing you've ever found on the river?
Oh man, I found all kinds of stuff.
One that sticks out to you, just a weird experience on the river.
The head off a tractor. Where that came from, I had no idea. I found tons of lost stuff like radios and cell phones and things like that. But I'd say the tractor head was probably the strangest thing I've seen in the river.
No gold, no gold bars yet.
No.
Still looking. I like it. That's super cool, man. So, Fall's coming up. What are you most looking forward to for fall? I mean, summer just started. Not trying to jump ahead, guys and gals, but hunting season's right around the corner. Can do some deer hunting, duck hunting. What's
Well, I mean, to be totally honest with you, I faded away from hunting. Um, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, because I realized that hunting season takes the crowds off the river and it gives it to me by myself. So
all right.
while everybody else is hunting, I spend the majority of my time on the river. Now, this year is going to be a little bit different. Uh, Having taken over this store, I'm going to be super busy with the bow shop.
Sure.
So probably starting, which I'm super busy now with the bow shop, to be honest with you, but I can't imagine if I'm busy now, how busy I'm going to be in July and August, come closer to bow season. So I'm sure that's going to take up a lot of my time and probably intrude on a lot of my river time, but hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Good problem to have. All those guys out there that wait till the last minute to get their bows restrung, their arrows cut for the season, all that. They usually wait till that week before the opener. Don't be that guy.
No, don't do it.
I had a friend of mine that owned a bow shop up here, and he used to hate that. He's like, all these guys think I'm just going to have it ready for them tomorrow. Not happening. Sorry, dude. But that's super cool, man. Well, Eddie, I'll give you the floor, man. Any final thoughts, words, shout outs, any of that? Plug your shop again, all that good stuff, man, before we wrap up.
Well, again, the name of the store is Cedar Rock Outfitters. It's Woodbury, Georgia. Phone number is easy enough to remember, 706-553-DEER.
Nice.
Full service archery shop. I've got Matthews, Mission, work on anything from elites to Hoyts to PSEs to Matthews, whatever your needs may be. Full service kayak store carrying new canoe and hoodoo. And full service hunting and fishing tackle. So, whatever your needs may be, by all means, give me a shout. Come by, see me, see the store. I guess that's it.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Guys and gals, if you're down in Eddie's neck of the woods, stop by his store. I see a couple guys dropping in the chat. Cool store. Matt Davis, shoal bass is my bucket list fish. Garrett Pate, we're all about the shoal bass down here in these parts.
Yes, we are.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. It's like I said, it's a bucket list for me. I know I've talked to Everett about it, Drew Gregory, a few different other guys that are big into that southeastern part of the country that just chase. What's that?
I said, you definitely need to come down.
All right. I need you to show me all the tips and tricks you made or gave to Everett to make him successful on the water. I understand how that works now. If Everett didn't have Eddie, I don't think he'd be a very good fisherman.
I don't know about that.
I got to give Everett a hard time. He's not here tonight. Where in the world is Everett Park? Well, thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everybody that tuned in tonight. We're here every Tuesday evening, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, talking with guys from the New Canoe team, some of our dealers. Sometimes we got Blake Young on, the owner of New Canoe, and things like that. We got some exciting stuff coming up. We will be at ICAST. I will be in the booth there doing some live shows. I know we got some exciting things coming up at the show, so be sure to tune in ICAST week. And then also, I just found out I'm going from Orlando up to Minnesota for the big archery show, so we'll be doing some live shows from there. So that week of July 20th through the 26th, I believe it is. Just follow the Facebook and YouTube page. We're going to have a ton of shows out, but always tune in every Tuesday night. Eddie, thanks again, my friend. Appreciate you. Absolutely, my friend. It was a pleasure. And be sure to follow Eddie on Instagram. That handle is at the bottom. It's at riverman.fishing_Eddie.McRae. And go follow his shop and go stop by and check it out next time you guys are in Georgia. Till next time, boys and girls, tight lines, smooth paddling.